In the depths of our minds, where the noise of the world crashes like waves against the shore, there exists a power most do not consider. It is not found in speech or the volume of our voices, but rather in its absence, in silence. Silence, as we shall see, is not merely the absence of sound. It is the foundation upon which the Stoic builds his strength, the fortress where he refines his soul and prepares for the inevitable storms of life. The virtue of silence. In a world so driven by noise, opinions, and the need to be heard, silence becomes an act of rebellion. It is an unshaken state of existence, one that refuses to be swayed by external forces. As the Stoics teach us, silence is the key to mastering oneself. It is in the stillness of thought, in the deliberate withholding of reaction, that the true self emerges. Epictetus, one of the most profound voices of Stoicism, taught us that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. His words are not a simple reminder of the virtue of listening, but a call to mastery over our impulses. To listen, truly listen, is to be present, and to be present is to live with intention. In this, silence becomes a discipline, an art that we must cultivate if we wish to conquer our inner turmoil. We live in an age of reaction, where every action invites immediate, unconsidered response. Yet the Stoic knows that silence, patience, and the refusal to react hastily are more powerful than any utterance we could make. The unshaken man, who stands calm amidst the chaos, holds the greatest strength. His silence speaks louder than words. The storm of emotions. But why should we value silence? Why is it so revered in Stoic philosophy? It is because silence is the shield against our most dangerous adversary, our emotions. To be Stoic is not to be devoid of emotion, but to master it. The ancients knew well that the storm of emotions, anger, fear, envy, and despair, was the root of much of our suffering. They called these path-destructive emotions that, if left unchecked, would lead us astray. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It is not the external world that troubles us, but our internal reaction to it. We are not disturbed by events themselves, but by the meanings we assign to them. The world outside may be chaotic, but within, there is peace if we choose to cultivate it, and silence is the first step. When we face adversity, whether it is personal loss, betrayal, or failure, the instinct is to lash out, to speak, to react. But the Stoic remains quiet. In that silence, he finds the space to observe, to understand, and to overcome. In our silence, we regain control. We begin to realize that our emotions, while powerful, do not define us. They are fleeting, passing through like storms, but we remain rooted like an oak tree, unshaken and steadfast. The path of the Stoic. To be silent is not to be passive. It is not to retreat from life. On the contrary, silence is the path to action. It is the pause before we strike, the breath before we speak, the calm before we engage. This is the essence of Stoic practice: to act, not out of impulse, but out of reason. Silence gives us the space to discern what is within our control and what is not. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, wisely observed, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." Life is not a series of random occurrences. It is a battlefield, and on this battlefield, the Stoic learns to choose his battles wisely. He learns to act where he has power and to let go of what he cannot change. Silence teaches us this discernment. Consider the power of silence in conflict. When faced with opposition, the natural response is to defend, to argue, to assert our dominance. But what if instead we chose silence? What if we listened, observed, and allowed our adversary's words to hang in the air? In that silence, we disarm them. In that pause, we gain the upper hand. For it is not the loudest who wins, but the one who remains composed, unshaken by the fury of others. The discipline of self-mastery. At the heart of Stoicism lies the principle of self-mastery. The Stoic understands that the only true power we possess is over ourselves, our thoughts, our actions, and our reactions. Everything else is beyond our control, and in this truth lies freedom. Silence is the first discipline on the path to self-mastery. Epictetus reminds us, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This is not an invitation to ignorance, but to humility. In silence, we learn to let go of the need for approval, the desire to be seen, and the urge to defend our ego. The Stoic does not seek validation from the outside world. He does not require applause or recognition. He is content in his own inner peace, his own silence. In silence, we cultivate humility, for we realize that our opinions, our judgments, and our words are often born of ignorance. The Stoic understands that to speak less is to learn more. To remain silent is to open oneself to knowledge, to growth, and to wisdom. The inner fortress. The Stoics often spoke of the inner fortress, the citadel within each of us where no harm can reach. This fortress is built through silence. In moments of quiet reflection, we fortify our minds, we strengthen our resolve, and we prepare for the trials ahead. Life, with all its unpredictability, will continue to test us. But within our inner fortress we remain unmoved. Marcus Aurelius in his Meditations wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." This is the ultimate power of silence. It is the retreat we can always return to, no matter the external circumstances. The world may rage on, but within, there is stillness, peace, and clarity. The red thread: silence, control, and freedom. As we tread this path, the red thread that binds these teachings is clear. Silence leads to control, and control leads to freedom. The Stoic, through his silence, gains mastery over his emotions, his actions, and ultimately, his life. He is not a slave to the opinions of others, to the chaos of the world, or to the whims of fate. He stands firm, a beacon of calm in a turbulent sea. In our pursuit of Stoic wisdom, we must learn to embrace silence, not as a retreat from life, but as the means to engage with it fully. Silence is the foundation of strength, the wellspring of wisdom, and the key to overcoming the destructive emotions that threaten to overwhelm us. As we reflect on the teachings of Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, let us remember that true power lies not in what we say, but in what we withhold. Let us strive to build our inner fortress, to master ourselves, and to face life with the calm, unshaken resolve of the Stoic. In silence, we find our greatest strength,